What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 4 and 5 of Sakamoto Days, season 1, and we're going to be talking full spoilers ahead. So if you've watched these two episodes, we are doing a double review because I was on vacation. I'm back now. We're catching up, and we'll be doing the same thing with solo leveling in the next day or so. So stay tuned for that as well if you're wondering about our thoughts on those episodes. And let's do a real quick recap. What happened in these episodes, Chevy?
So it continued on from the previous episode where I can't remember the kid's name, the one who can hear people's thoughts,
Shin,
fought the spiky haired assassin that was after them. And they found his antidote on him and started dripping into his eyes, which we later find out has a side effect of him not being able to hear thoughts, which is not so convenient for him. As we learned, there are still other hitmen in the theme park, specifically a duo, one going by Boiled is his name, and the other one
Obiguru.
Yeah, Obiguru, which doesn't really go by her name very often in the show. So that was a tricky one to catch.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so they're going through after beating the guy. He's surprised, as a lot of them are, that they won't kill him, and they're wandering around enjoying the rest of their day when they thought it was uneventful, and then they go into a haunted house, which they realize is just bad news right off the bat, and they're proved right as they go in, and a trap has basically been laid for them. A bunch of would-be assassins are sprinkled throughout the whole thing. They're constantly have to defend themselves, and then eventually they are put in a position where they are split up, and Boiled goes after Sakamoto, and the girl takes on the rest of them. So in this, we basically get some backstory on Sakamoto and this hard-boiled guy. He used to kind of idolize and follow him around, but Sakamoto didn't really give him time of day and would get all the attention of the girls when Boiled didn't, and never remember, or eventually treated him as if he didn't know him, and then that continues on. So he's got a little bit of a grudge there. They start fighting it out, and Boiled is seemingly at an advantage and just beating the crap out of Sakamoto, to which something kind of awakens in Sakamoto, and all of a sudden he's skinny again, which they didn't really explain much other than moving makes you lose weight. So
we saw two people basically play Popeye, where Sakamoto was able to just become skinny instantly, and in the basement or wherever, where they have Shin tied up, and they're playing a game where they're going to cut him up if Lou can't hit her in a certain amount of time. But Lou has been drinking her anxiety medication in the haunted house because she was freaked out, which was just alcohol basically, and she is lit as fuck. And like I said, playing Popeye almost. She's got a whole new persona, and is doing drunken master stuff with Obiguru down there. So
yeah, which is happening at the same time. It kind of bounces back and forth. So that fight with with Lou and the other gal basically turns into a almost like a stalemate. The girl basically is excited that someone pushed her to actually have to fight a little bit, and then says we should do this again, and leaves. And then Boiled and Sakamoto eventually end up in a what are those called again? Ferris wheel?
Yeah.
Through the side of one of the carriages, and
where dude's getting creepy on a girl.
Yes. And that fight gets basically resolved as well. Boiled is over his issues with Sakamoto at this point and promises not to go after them again. At this point, the family wakes up on a bench in the park. though Shin is real dodgy about the questioning that Aoi is giving him, because she wants to know how they got out there and where her husband is at. And he goes, "Oh, I'll go find him," runs off. So right after Shin runs into Sakamoto and sees that he's finished the fight, he's gotten skinny all of a sudden, they're kind of talking about how there's a hit on Sakamoto, and his wife happens to hear that part and gets really mad about it, dragging not only Shin and Sakamoto to talk about it, but also Boiled gets dragged into the chew out fest as well, when she basically says rule number 6 is no lying or secrets, and take care of the contract on your head immediately. And then we kind of fast forward now, and we see a group of hitmen. I feel like I'm skipping something, but
it doesn't matter. You just have to hit the major beats. Yeah. We don't have to go into every detail.
Basically, a group of hitmen sitting at a table. We get a little douse of all their personalities, but they're basically gathered together because there's someone out there killing hundreds of the association's hitmen, and so they need their best to figure out who that is. We have Sakamoto and crew going to a video rental place, which is like a secret information broker type thing, and they basically get the information on where they could find the location of where maybe the hit was put on him, so they can get rid of it. They go to the location, kind of work their way through the building or whatever, and they get to the top floor where Shin notices he can't hear any voices. It's very quiet on that floor, and they come to find out, they open a door, and it's because everyone's dead, and they're just kind of piled up in one room, except for a familiar face of the guy from a couple episodes prior who can change his form, and Shin can't read his thoughts anyways. I can't remember his name, but
yeah, I can't remember his name either.
But he basically, after doing his typical bits of like, fibbing and playing around, kind of tells Sakamoto what's going on, and kind of warns him, like, if you had a hard time with Boiled, you should probably watch your back, because 5 years isn't doing any favors. And then the training arc basically begins while a bunch of hitmen constantly walk into the store.
Yeah, just nonchalantly walking in, getting wrecked.
And getting bandages from from his daughter. So I think that was all the beats.
Yep.
What do you think?
Right. Quickly, episode 4, because when you get past all of the fights and stuff that are happening, pretty straightforward episode. I thought it was interesting that we're continuing at the same place that we got in the episode before that, at the theme park, into the night or whatever. But it's just them exploring further until more hitmen try to take them out, which obviously leads into more, but kind of interesting. I thought the whole haunted house part was funny, that Lou is like freaked out so much by a haunted house that she starts drinking her anxiety medicine, and which we find out later is just alcohol, which is not a good mix. If you have anxiety, don't be drinking. But it worked out for her. I thought it's funny that she just completely changes as a person, and
a couple times
starts bringing up 4,000 years of martial arts techniques that she's learned, passed down to her from her family, or wherever the hell she said.
And that she loves her new family.
Yeah. Yeah, very energetic. That whole scene was funny, with Opa Guru, who didn't really offer much as a character, but that's fine. She was, I'm sure we'll see her again, but she seemed kind of temporary. But the whole hard-boiled thing, very on the nose, hard-boiled. But I see what they're going for with him in the comedy, but I feel like it was kind of overdone with him just saying hard-boiled about everything. But then it got so excessive that it became kind of funny to me too, so felt kind of mixed. But the fight between him and Sakamoto I thought was interesting, specifically Sakamoto just becoming skinny. It's this show, I'll accept it. Everything in the show so far is just like what's convenient when we want to. It's fun. But it was really weird when he came out the smoke and he wasn't fat anymore, no mustache. It was just like a slightly older looking version of the Sakamoto we've been seeing from the past. I didn't know what I was looking at first. I was like, who the fuck is that? Oh, okay, right. Weird. Okay. That fight was fun. Hard-boiled's or Boiled's ball bomb thing was kind of ridiculous, but they kind of play off that a little bit too in the flashback where he's talking about all his abbreviations or whatever for all of his gadgets that the one guy that I can't remember his name of was like, oh, that's cool sounding, but Sakamoto was just like, yeah, it sounds stupid.
Right.
Which kind of set him off on Sakamoto doesn't appreciate me and my skills, and he's finally fighting him to kind of test him. But yeah, the shooting the ball thing was interesting. At first, it's like, I don't even know what the hell he's shooting. What are those, like gumballs or something? But he ends up saying it. But yeah, it was an interesting episode. It was fun. Moving into episode 5, I liked this episode more just because we are finally starting to explore some lore. Not that the show needs deep lore. It's definitely just a entertainment show. But I feel like the show hasn't really dabbled in getting to know the characters too well. Not really getting to know like what motivation there is for anyone to be doing anything outside of people are after Sakamoto. Like, where do we go from there? Well, now we have, some stuff, some wheels are turning a little bit. So that's good to see. It's only the 5th episode. So it's a good time to start introducing like a bigger arc, I guess. So I appreciate that. And I kind of, it's funny so far with the show that Sakamoto's just being visited by low-level hitmen and then hitmen from his past, and they all have good relations with him, very John Wick. But he ends up just beating them, and they're all like, okay, like, I won't come after you anymore. Like, it's just like he's gonna slowly, all the people he was allied with at one point, he's gonna have to fight them to become allied with them again. It's kind of interesting. Although we did get a peek at the dude who's assassinating people, right? That was that guy.
Yeah, we got the back of him
with doing the X, which I assume he's the guy in the intro.
Yeah,
but
X or slur as they call him as well.
Yeah. So I have a feeling he's gonna be like the bad guy. With this, what are they called? The assassins, the elite.
There's like the JAA, and then there's the Order, which is the elite.
Yeah.
Faction of it.
And they're looking for him, right? That guy, yeah.
He's killing off JAA members.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. Really curious to see where that goes, because so far, like, the humor's been fun in the show, the action's been okay, creative, but like, not the best. But it's always fun the way they do it.
My favorite part about the action isn't the actual like fights or not the fighting or choreography, but they make really good use of impact frames for like moments that are done really well. I agree with that. That's fun. So.
Even with the balls when they exploded, looked really cool, and the punching, and like when Sakamoto and Hard Boiled like hit, and then all of a sudden we're in the different section. Yeah. There's like good creativity and good impact, stuff like that. But yeah, the animation's like not the best ever, but it's fine because it doesn't need to be. Yeah. I'm glad to see that it's going somewhere that we can get more out of it. So because I do enjoy the lore aspect, I do enjoy the new characters, and how many. They're almost making a mockery of it now already, of like hitmen coming after him. They're like walking in a store and they're like pressing a button and knocking him out and stuff, and the daughter's like putting band-aids on it. Also, it's been revealed to the wife that this is happening, so there's no secret element to it anymore. She's just like, get it settled, basically. So yeah, it's kind of like pulling the band-aid off and getting things rolling. So yeah, what else is there anything else that I missed? That one dude that Shin can't read, who's Sakamoto's like old colleague.
Yeah, the guy who can change his form, basically.
Yeah, the scene with him stabbing Shin in the throat with the knife was ridiculous. They falsely kill Shin constantly in the show.
All the time.
In Sakamoto's thoughts, and then that scene, I was like...
They could legitimately kill him, and I would be doubting them at this point.
Yeah, it'd be like, he'll be fine. So, in fact, when that happened, there's no blood. I'm like, what's going on here? And then that happened. So
and he's got one of those goofy fake knives that are spring, basically.
Yep. So yeah, episode 4, episode 5, both fun so far. The show so far has just been fun. But like I said, we're starting to get the wheels moving, and really curious to see where it goes from here. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, pretty similar. The big takeaway is, and we kind of brought this up before, but it definitely gives like major like One Punch Man vibes.
Oh
where,
yeah.
A lot of the charm of the show is the cast of the show, and not necessarily because we all know Sakamoto is a badass. Like, he's Mr. Invincible. Though it was nice to see him actually have to fight a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. I can dig a show that's just about characters, and they really are kind of doing that. Which was one thing like that I really liked about One Punch Man as well. You'd get these characters, they'd be around for an episode, and they were like real ridiculous, right? The show's very similar in that regard. So I welcome it. There's, for me at least, I haven't seen too many shows that are like this. Usually there's more of a driven, like, plot and stuff like that. And we are finally getting a story, but it has definitely been more of a focus on like just kind of setting up expectations, basically. But then with them actually like opening up like a objective for Sakamoto and crew to do, we can actually like have a story happen now instead of just like slice of life with assassins, basically. So but yeah, I've been enjoying it for sure. I think it's fun. It's not an amazing show, but it's fine. I don't need everything to be like a 10 out of 10 banger all the time. So
yeah, out of all the animes we review, we do typically watch like the big banger ones that everybody's watching, and a lot of those don't really disappoint. It is good every once in a while to watch animes, and this might get like amazing, I don't know, but so far it's just cool, it's fun. But it's kind of nice to watch something that kind of like humbles you and lets you know, like, not everything has to be the big budget huge anime. Sometimes it's just a fun, charming little anime like this.
Well, so. It has like so many moments where I'm just like kind of like smirking or like chuckling at like the ridiculousness of the situation. Like when Lou's like all of a sudden getting drunk and he's like,
"Yeah, I
this
hope we see more
medicine."
of that. Yeah,
and you're just like, "Oh, okay." And then you kind of see her wobbling around and we're like, "Oh, she's gonna be doing drunken martial arts now." And then she starts doing it. So, and predictable, yes, but fun.
And then she was drinking at the very end of episode 5, and that guy came in and she just smashed the bottle at his fucking head.
Borderline killed the guy. They got to call an ambulance for that dude. So yeah. Overall, having a good time with it. Looking forward to seeing what other weird assassin types we get coming after Sakamoto, because none of them have been normal.
Yeah, well, we saw the deer head guy in the intro and some other people, so it's definitely going to get interesting.
And like what kind of ridiculous powers they have, because there's no rules in the show, which is totally fine.
Anybody can do whatever.
Yeah, but it's a good time. So,
all right, anything else? Let us know in the comments what you guys think about the episode 4 and 5 of Sakamoto Days. What were some of your favorite parts? Maybe some things that happened in this episode we didn't really touch on too much that you want to talk about in the comments. If you're going to put any spoilers for anybody who, well, I warned people at the beginning of our review that we're talking spoilers, but so I guess you can just say whatever. But anything that we might have missed you want to talk about, and where do you think things are going? Unless you know, please don't tell us. Let us know what you think about in the comments below when it comes to Sakamoto Days. Stay tuned. We will be doing a dual review of Solo Leveling, catching up on that as well. So if you are watching that, stay tuned for that. And if you're not watching that, you can go watch it and catch up with all of our reviews if you want. And if you have any recommendations on things you think we should watch, whether it's animes, movies, TV, whatever, something you think we might be interested in, can't guarantee we'll do it, but we take recommendations as ideas of more things to watch. So until the next episode, I've been Seth, this has been Chevy, and we'll talk to you guys later.